Good evening. With your CIGTV news update, I'm Simon Boxall in for Donna Bush. Our newscast today shines a spotlight on the ongoing anti-corruption conference at UCCI, which has drawn speakers from the Caribbean and around the globe. The conference began last night with a keynote presentation by the chair of Transparency International, Huguette Lebel. An academic and former civil servant, Dr. Lebel addressed an audience of senior government officials, international guests, students and staff from UCCI, private sector representatives and members of the public.
This conference is so very important, and so is the Caribbean. We have many countries in this part of the world. The size may not be that of India, but each country at the table of nations counts.
During the presentation, Dr. Lebel addressed a range of topics. She spoke about the impact on a country's development when its citizens have to pay bribes to access basic public services. She discussed how the political branch of government, the private sector, the public sector, the judiciary and education systems all have a vital role in actively addressing and combating corruption. Dr. Lebel also showed she's a strong advocate for the right of citizens to access government information.
And it's a very interesting case in Brazil, where they have decided a few years ago that by 12 midnight every day, all the revenues to the government, by whom and how much, and all that is paid by the government, to whom, how much, and for what purpose, had to be online. So it's on the web every day. And that's a very interesting, it's one of the few countries that I know, if not the only one, that does it on a daily basis. And they said, you know, once we establish a system, it's not so complicated because the information has to be there. And now the only thing they want to do is make sure that it's not just a question that accountants can understand it, but that it's simple, really available to the people. So which brings me to the fact that having good legislation on access to information seen as a right, not a privilege for the people, that governments, all of us, I've been there long enough, realize that when that information belongs to the people, it is the people's information, it's not the government's information, and we're just the custodian of it, and that the general rule should be that information is public, that is transparent, that people don't have to be on their knees begging to have information that belongs to them to start with.
Transparency International is a non-governmental organization that tackles corporate and political corruption. It has national branches in 100 countries around the world. So far, guests at the conference, which is entitled Towards a Corruption-Free Caribbean, have heard from Premier Alden McLaughlin, the Finance Minister of Nigeria and the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, among others. Premier Alden McLaughlin spoke at the conference opening ceremony last night and took part in a plenary discussion this morning which featured an international panel that included speakers from the governments of Bermuda and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As part of this session, presenters outlined the anti-corruption framework in their respective countries with an eye towards the development of a Caribbean-wide model.
But corruption benefits the few and impoverishes the many. It destroys the image and the reputation and the attractiveness of the jurisdiction, and therefore it impoverishes the entire nation. And that is why we must all work collectively, as we are doing over the course of the next few days, to educate everyone and to have people understand the different degrees and the wide range and spread of corrupt practices and how impactful they are in a negative sense on the future of our people.
Representatives from the various organizations that form the Cayman Islands governance structure are scheduled to speak throughout the conference. These include the Auditor General's Office, the Complaints Commissioner, and the Information Commissioner. Tomorrow, a panel will discuss whether the Cayman Islands could serve as a model for the Caribbean. UCCI organizers have been working for months to organize the three-day conference, which brings together dignitaries and civil society representatives from around the region. CIGTV spoke to one of the conference organizers, Patricia Ebanks, about the response from the public to date. Ms. Ebanks explained that last night's opening ceremony included performance by the popular UCCI choir, as well as the award-winning Northern Caribbean University Choir. Ms. Ebanks says UCCI has received phenomenal feedback from many of the guests. That's good.
We think it is going beautifully. We've had very impressive speeches, presentations, and we've had wonderful attendance. So everybody is saying that they've not seen anything like this in the rest of the Caribbean. The people from Jamaica says, my God, you have upstaged the University of the West Indies. They haven't done anything like this. They think it's quite impressive, the range, the level of the speakers that we have here, their knowledge of the areas that they're speaking about, their experience, the caliber speakers. So we're very happy with how it's going.
She also urges members of the public to learn more about the subject of corruption.
We're happy that the Caymanian public is supporting the conference because corruption is everybody's business, and by the way, who suffers most when there is a corrupt state? It's the man in the street, and he has to have a voice. And so the man in the street, he is the person that we're hoping will come here. This is not just for, academics and people with special interest. It is for the man in the street. He's the one we're concerned about most in this whole, calculus.
The conference concludes tomorrow with the launch of a new regional e-journal that will focus on accountability, transparency, and anti-corruption strategies. Dr. Trevor Munro will also read the conference communique. For more information or to check out the live streaming feed, visit www.ucciconference.ky. As always, reminding you to tune in to Radio Cayman's Talk Today show, weekdays at 12:15, with host Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. On Friday, Dr. Suk Yin will be on to talk about the Cayman Islands Heart Fund. And Matthew Leslie will discuss the K-Brew International Chili Cook-Off. And don't forget, you can watch the CIGTV News Update rebroadcasts throughout the night or on our Facebook and YouTube pages. That ends another news update here on CIGTV. I'm Simon Bonsall, as always.